Welcome, everyone, to Real Talk with My Homies. I'm your host, Jake Wardrop, licensed real estate agent with Homepage Realty, and we've got George back again.
What's
I
up?
think this is like your fourth time on.
It's the most of
Yes,
everyone.
you're
That's
definitely the
important
most
thing.
recurring guest.
Yeah, it's 4 times. Wish it was more, but yeah, I'll take 4.
I only record them every other Thursday or Friday or whatever, so we can't do too many.
Yeah, every once in a while you're going to need a co-host.
That's
all,
true.
That's all I'm plugging
true.
for.
Yeah, you've hopefully got some good things coming down the line as well.
I do.
We can talk about that later or never, just up to you.
If it's ever going to get done.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good tease. We can close with that later on.
Perfect. So today I'm here, especially glad for you to be here because I am officially announcing today that the Detroit Lions are America's team.
Oh, all right.
Yes.
All
No
right.
longer the Cowboys. I think the Packers tried to have it for a minute as well. The Detroit Lions are America's team.
Does that mean like they're going to win the Super Bowl or like they're
No,
America's
it's just
favorite
It's
team?
America's sweetheart.
So this is 2 Detroit Lions fans congratulating each other about
Yes.
how we just won America's heart. Okay,
Yeah,
fair
we've
enough.
got
Yeah.
America's heart. We've got.
I'll take it.
Yeah, officially America's team. I mean, statistically, they're the highest scoring team in the last 2 years.
Okay.
Rough start week 1 this year. We'll pretend that one didn't happen. Growing pains with some new coordinators, but they immediately worked through that and started dropping 50 burgers on their opponents. So
I was off the hype train right after week 1. I was off
very
the hype
I
train.
was very scared after week 1.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest.
I was scared going into week 1. I was like,
I
oh,
thought
Ben
we were gonna be
Johnson's
fine.
the only reason. And
I just don't think the Packers have a lot of weapons. So, like, I was very, like, we're going to be fine. It may not be pretty, but we'll still win.
Yeah.
We normally play Green Bay really well, especially at Lambeau over the last couple of years. They may get us later in the year, but, like, they're injured, they're down, they don't have a lot of people. So, I was definitely down on the game, not the season, because you've got so many pieces there that create a great team. So...
I'll take it. America's team. Fair enough.
America's team, official. So they're plus 1,000 to win the Super Bowl, by the way. So 10-1 odds for them to win the Super Bowl.
Really?
I looked this morning.
That seems wrong.
They're the 5th favorite. So they're
5th favorite?
Yep. You got the Eagles, the Packers.
Don't say the Chiefs.
Who else was it? I knew you were going to ask me who else it was.
Was that today?
Yeah, it was as of this morning. So it reflected the games yesterday.
After the Packers lost to the Cowboys.
It may be the Chiefs. The Chiefs feel like a team that's going to go out and trade for some big name guy. And we're just like, oh, great. Now they're back.
I guess.
So, but it is.
I mean, the Chiefs are like 1-2, aren't they?
They're 2-2 now.
2-2?
They
okay, fair enough.
curb stomped the Ravens yesterday. That was
500 football teams better than the team putting up 50 points a week, but go ahead.
So, but yes, the real value though is if you're a Ravens fan, you could probably get some great odds for the Ravens to win the Super Bowl because they're now 1-3
with an injured quarterback.
He'll be fine. I think they used the hamstring as an excuse to just bench a guy who was struggling.
Speaking of which, this is off topic, and I know we're supposed to be quick, so we're really helping out that. Yeah. But do you remember when it was Michael Johnson, I think, the U.S. sprinter that was like the best 200-meter sprinter going up against the best 100-meter sprinter in the world, which was from Canada. And I think his name was like Michael Bailey or something like that.
I remember this happening. Don't remember the
names.
We
were kids, and it was like a head-to-head.
Yep.
And the Canadian takes off, and they did it at like this catch distance of 150 yards, and it was like half a turn. Mm-hmm. Canadian takes off, and Michael Johnson's like 4 lengths back, and then with like 50 meters left, he just, hamstring. So maybe that's what Lamar was pulling last night.
Yeah, just, oh, shoot, I'm going to lose.
We totally would have had him if my hamstring didn't get there.
Sorry. But yeah, I think what I love most, and we're still on time. We're talking about the Lions. We got all the time in the world to talk about the Lions.
Okay.
Is like Dan Campbell just created this culture of, not Green Bay. Detroit's always had this grit culture, and now you've got the most perfect, grittiest head coach ever. He's out there doing warm-ups with them, not just telling them what to do. And I think what I love the most is he's got this island of misfit toys. Where you've got Jared Goff, who was essentially cast off from Los Angeles. You've got David Montgomery, who was cast off from Chicago. You've got, who else? Marcus Davenport. I don't remember his history, but he was definitely not a top-tier guy like he is now. Derek Barnes, same situation as him. Alex Anzalone, who under no real world should he be that good at football, but he is. He's great. And then you've got Amik Robertson, who he had this really inspirational quote last year and was like, they tried to bury me, but you can't bury what's already in the dirt. And he's like, you guys have given me a chance to play football. And like, that was all, his eyes are all swelled up. He's crying after one of the games. I think he got a game ball or something towards the end of last year. And that was one of those videos. But yeah, absolutely.
And an electric running back. That's a perfect Detroit Lions formula.
Yes. Now all we need is just a 6'6" wide receiver with a really cool nickname.
Yeah, like Megatron, Herman Moore. We've had more than just Megatron as I go back way ago. And now Johnny Morton, speaking of back in the day wide receivers, Johnny Morton, who's one of my favorite receivers when I was a kid, is now our offensive coordinator.
I was about to put a for sale sign in his yard to circle back on real estate after week one. Yeah. I was ready to do that. I was not very excited about what he was putting out.
Fairweather fans here.
But yeah, America loves a comeback story, and no team has risen from the ashes probably better than Detroit. So,
and flash cut to a 3-game losing streak. Having said that,
no, this is when you listen to this, they're going to be 4-1, 5-1, 6-1.
Fair enough.
All right, George, we got to do an ad read. It's actually your company.
Is it my ad read?
It is your ad read. I'm excited to share my partnership with Senior Family Solutions and their Easy Equity Loan program, a game changer for sellers looking to maximize their home's value. This loan allows sellers to tap into their home's equity with no upfront costs, covering everything from contractor coordination to invoices, all paid at closing. Whether you're downsizing, upgrading, or simply preparing your home for top dollar, this program makes renovation seamless and stress-free. If you're ready to take advantage of this opportunity, contact me or George, since he's standing here.
Just call Jake. It's fine.
Call me.
You've recently, you can stop reading. You've recently used it. You can tell us. Did it work?
Used it. We're going to close on the house probably in the next couple of weeks.
Exactly.
It was a long process to get to the closing table, but it was not a long process to do the loan and do all that stuff.
So not our fault.
No. This was, and it wasn't even, I don't even think fault is a good word to use in that situation. Michelle Curlin's on the other side of the deal, and her people came from Nevada. They had a house to sell, and we accepted a contingency. They did not have a swimming pool, which apparently is a must in Nevada. So it took a minute for them to sell their house. Yeah, apparently out there, you've got to have a pool if you're trying to sell.
I mean, it is the desert. It makes sense.
It is, but they also priced it appropriately. Yeah. It wasn't like they were trying to get pool house money without a pool.
Yeah.
They did, according to her, and I have no reason to believe that the other agents that from Nevada's not giving her the real answers. They priced it, $150,000 less than what they probably should have if it had a pool.
But the nice thing was, like, that house that you're about to sell needed some improvements.
Yes.
The seller probably didn't necessarily want to have to go through that whole process themselves, including putting all the money up too.
Absolutely.
While they're trying to then save their money for a new home. We were able to come in. It's all done. The seller didn't even have to write a check. Comes out of closing.
Comes right out of closing proceeds. Every now and again, we'll get an update on a payoff, and it goes up a little bit because you do have carrying costs.
Right.
But it's still a fraction of how much hard liquid capital they would have had to put out.
Yeah.
We ended up doing probably about $60,000, $70,000 worth of renovations.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and that was money they didn't have to pull. They just used the equity in the home.
I'm glad it's worked out.
It is. It's a good program, not just for homepage agents, right?
Right.
Because that's good, because I've been telling a lot of people that they're not homepage, that you don't have to be at homepage in order to get it.
Yeah. We just have to have a conversation. We got to trust the agent like yourself.
Yeah. And the numbers obviously have to make sense.
Right.
All right.
That step all over your ad read and get you confused now?
No, not at all. I just had to, somehow my phone dropped out. Now I got to go back into the notes. All right. I came across this the other day, and it made me want to start something else, which is did you know stuff.
Okay.
Did you know facts?
All right. What
year would you say Picasso died?
First off, are they doing construction literally above our heads?
No, I think it's outside.
Okay. I got to break down the fourth wall here.
It's a trash truck, I think.
I'm acting like it's not happening, but it's happening.
Weirdly, upstairs is actually an Airbnb.
Oh, okay. Well, they're awake now.
Yeah, definitely awake.
It must be trash day. So I'm sorry. All I heard was the dump truck.
Yep,
you said
dump truck. All right.
You said something about...
So this came across not too long ago. What year, if you had to guess, what year would you say Picasso died?
Oh, dude, now you're making me look really bad.
No, trust me, everyone's going to look bad.
Well, let's see.
If you're listening at home, answer this question in your head. When did Picasso die?
The Impressionist movement happened when... one quick thing. I was in Amsterdam in college, and the art museum there had a exhibit of Monet and Picasso. So when Picasso was in the... mental facility that he was in, he wanted to keep painting and he didn't have anything to look at. So Monet sent him a bunch of his pictures, his paintings. So then he would paint. So you would see the Monet painting and then his, I'm I'm an idiot.
His version?
Yeah. Yeah, but it's also Van Gogh that I'm talking about. So strike all of this from the record.
Still a great little fun fact about Van Gogh and Monet.
We will guess. We will go ahead and guess 1840.
Not even close. 1973.
No, my God.
He died in the 70s. That makes no sense to me. You could have told me he died in 1472 and I would have believed you.
Okay, so I mean, not only did I get this off by 130 years, but I also had the wrong artist in my head on the story I told.
That's fair. But yes, even I, when I first saw this, was like, I had to look it up.
All right.
I was like, this is the internet just doing a gotcha moment. They did not. All right, another good one. So that's what started it, was the Picasso dying. I was like, all right, what other crazy, weird facts do we have? Harvard was founded before calculus was invented.
Really?
Yeah. Don't even know how that translates.
Huh. When's calculus invented?
I don't know.
You don't know what Harvard is?
I didn't go deep into the weeds on that one. Another good one was woolly mammoths were around while the Great Pyramids were being built.
Okay.
Which may explain how they were built.
Yeah.
I mean, the answer may have just been staring us in the face
we just
the whole
solved
time.
it. Yeah.
All right, go ahead and wrap it up. Thanks, guys. Appreciate
no need
you
to
tuning
listen to
in
the
today.
Joe Rogan podcast anymore. Jake just solved it.
Let's see. Humans walked on the moon before most countries even had color TV.
I can see that.
Yeah, that one kind of makes sense now that I'm thinking about it. But if you take away color, then it's a little crazy.
Yes.
Fax machine existed long before the typewriter. That doesn't make sense.
That doesn't make sense.
No.
Some of these I don't believe. I don't believe the calculus.
I fact checked them. Like these are real.
Okay.
And the last one is Nintendo, the video games, is older than the Eiffel Tower. Nintendo did stuff before video games, which is why.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a weird, not coincidence, but like a technicality.
Yeah, because
they were a company before making video games.
Okay. Yeah.
So, but when you say Nintendo, you instantly think of Nintendo 64, Nintendo Switch, all that stuff. All right. Let's do one more ad read and then we can finish out the podcast with all the good stuff. All right. Scott Taylor isn't just your State Farm agent. He's your neighbor and personally my friend, your supporter and your go-to for insurance with a local heartbeat. Protect what matters with someone who knows what matters to you. Scott Taylor at State Farm, where local really means something. Good neighbors make great agents. Call Scott Taylor at State Farm, serving your hometown with more than just coverage. To contact Scott and get a free quote, call him direct at 502-449-4300. Like a good neighbor, Scott Taylor is there.
Like a good neighbor.
Yep. State Farm is there. All right. We've got market update stuff.
You want to go market update
Yeah, let's
first?
go market update because I want to make sure we get through all this. We've got one other thing I want to do.
Thank you. I will need these.
Yeah.
I unfortunately am getting older, but
we've got something else fun, but we're doing some production on the fly. We're going to put that at the end.
Okay.
So
do you want to talk about the biggest real estate merger and acquisition in history, or are we going straight to the stats?
Let's do short version of stats first.
Okay.
Let's do the abridged version of stats. How is everything going in whatever stats you pulled up? I just said stats. I don't even know what you did. So did you do homepage? Did you do Louisville? Did you do GLAR? What did you do?
Let's just look at the Louisville market. Let's look at GLAR,
Okay.
and we can just kind of focus on that. I think there might be some people who watch the show outside of homepage, so they probably don't need to get dragged down on how great we are all doing at homepage. That being said, the market's doing pretty good this year. Mm-hmm. In 2022, it was going gangbusters. Interest rates start happening. Q4 2023 was a rough year. I think I might have even been on talking about it. 24, we start to have a bit of a recovery. Mm-hmm. Now we're here in 25, and our numbers are basically where they were in 22. Okay. 22, like right early summer, spring of 22 was probably the high water mark of Louisville real estate in terms of total volume sold. Really, the most important thing from a brokerage perspective is total volume sold. Mm-hmm. Number of closings kind of give you an idea of what you could call like the velocity of the market, how quickly things and how many things are changing hands. For a seller, they're really focused, of course, on average price, mm-hmm. days on market. For a buyer, they're probably really focused on new listings and active listings, the inventory. So what's out there to buy. Mm-hmm. So when we're looking at kind of like where we've been, going up through that high water mark of 22, we'd experienced, especially since COVID, incredibly low inventory.
Yeah.
And that's where you had a lot of buyers getting frustrated with the market because everything seemed to go under contract, multiple offers and everything. So we saw from 20 to like 24, even through the interest rate crisis type stuff, of average price going up consistently. We're talking 5, sometimes 10% appreciation in a year, which in Louisville is crazy, right? Yeah. We're not a beach town. It's usually much more of a stable type market.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I look at my own personal home, just to piggyback off of that. We looked at doing a home equity line of credit for some stuff, and they sent out an appraiser, and within like a year and a half, our house appraised over 20%.
Yeah.
Than what we bought it for. I'm like, this doesn't even make sense.
I know.
Like, I'm in this industry. I understand how this works. This is a slow build, and we just had a rocket strapped to us.
Yeah. And I think it led to a bit of a standoff too, because then someone like yourself's like, I got all this equity. Maybe my family's growing or my income's growing. I want to go get a new, bigger, better house. Well, unfortunately, the inventory wasn't there, right, to go make that move, which might have demand was not rising very fast because interest rates were raising, but the inventory was not there. So average price kept ticking up because it was just a supply and demand thing. Like supply was way lower than what demand was. So we're going to see average price go up. Now, this year, that's changed a little bit. So we have had the biggest change in this year has been inventory. We are up about 15% on inventory from last year.
Yeah, there's definitely significantly more.
Significantly more.
It's what, probably close to 500 houses?
Yeah. So so put it in perspective, let's just look at August, right? In August of 25, we're almost at 5,000 houses of the total inventory. In August of 25, we put almost 2,000 houses on the market. When we compare that to like 23 and 24, we had about 1,200 houses on the market in August, and we had about 3,000. So we have gained almost 2,000 extra houses in inventory since 23 and even 24. So there's a lot. We're up 44% on 24 in August of inventory available.
That's crazy.
So if you're a buyer, you have significantly more choices out there. Now, number of closings in the most recent month in August has even gone up 4% from the last year. Sold volume in August was up 10%. On the year, sold volume is up 9%. So we are up 9% of all of the homes that have sold year to date from January to now. I took this last week because like today's still obviously sorting itself out. So the market itself is significantly higher as far as how many homes are being sold. Now, that tells you a story of like the market is moving quickly and it's all positive. However, I mentioned the inventory thing. So I think you had a lot of people reticent to put their home on the market because interest rates are high. They didn't want to buy a house. They were stuck in that 2% interest house. And they had been that way for so long that your inventory was so small 2 years ago, even last year. Well, now people like yourself who have seen their house grow.
Yeah, I'm in that golden handcuffs category.
You're in the golden handcuffs.
Would love to get a better house, bigger house, maybe a little bigger yard, something, but I can't justify it based on what I got.
Tripling your interest rate?
Yeah, and I don't have a house that would be, I've talked to people before about it, and like, well, just rent your house out. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't have a house that would be a good rental property.
Yeah. But I think a lot of people like you are saying, I still want a new house.
Yes.
But also, the amount of appreciation that I've gained over the past 3 years is starting to outweigh this pain. And also, I think people are seeing there's a non-zero chance, we'll call it, of interest rates dropping over the next couple of years. So I think they're thinking, I might buy a house with all this equity that I have. I can pay down more of that principal than I probably would have thought I'd be borrowing 2-3 years ago. And I'm ready, to start considering a refi later on. But also, you've got that whole thing of like, if you would have bought that new house 2-3 years ago, you would have gotten the appreciation. So average price versus 2022 is up 11% in August.
Yeah. So we bought our house in October of 2020.
Right.
The one we're in right now. So rates were crazy low. Inventory was crazy low. And we did not, I don't know how this happened, but we did not find ourselves in a multiple offer situation.
Yeah.
We got our house free and clear, no competition, got it at list price. And I mean, we honestly, I thought it was a little underpriced to begin with based on what we got, but I mean, conversation for another day. But yeah, I mean, I've got 5 years of that appreciation train that I've been riding.
Exactly.
You know, you're just talking about 22 to now. I'm talking about 20 to now. I've got even more.
And I think eventually people are like, all right, my cup is overfloweth or whatever, and I'm ready to go. Or also, like, not saying you missed out on it, but there is an argument of like, if you would have moved 4 years ago and moved up, your moving up house would have appreciated at 11% since 22. If you bought $1 million home at 11%, that's a bigger gross number than 11% of a $500,000 home appreciating.
Absolutely.
So, you know, I think sellers are starting to understand that. We're seeing a lot go into the market. Now, cumulative days on market now are significantly higher than they were in 22. We're up 18 days compared to where we were. So your average days on market right now are about 40 days, 39 days. Your sales price to list price is 98.5. So you're going to expect almost a couple of months for your house to sit on the market these days. And on average, you're going to see about a 1.5% discount on that listing. So you got a $600,000 house, you're going to have to look somewhere around $9,000, $10,000 off that listing price that you have, and you might have to wait 2 months for it.
I think that matters too when you're like, I've got obviously a lot of new construction clients that builders that I work for, and you're starting to see not become stagnant, but it has slowed down. Yeah, especially if it's not a builder that's offering, you know, they don't have a partner lender that they can just back up a Brinks truck. Yeah, with incentives that you've got to just buy the house as it is, use an outside lender, use whoever. You know, one specific community I've got is those condos that I'm trying to sell, and we have a preferred lender, but it's not because, you know, we get a ton of kickbacks or rebates from him. It's because we've got, he just knows the product. Yeah. He knows the product. He can, you know, it is a new community. So condos, not to bore people with all the
minutia, but there's conforming issues.
Yeah. It's not as straightforward as just buying a single family home. There is some,
it might not be FHA
stuff.
Approved yet.
Exactly. And ours are not.
Right.
Because of the price point, there's not a ton of FHA buyers that are going to be looking in that price range.
But I think what it is you have to stand out. You have competition as a seller now.
Yes.
Back when 20 to even 22, if you were in the right price range to the right area, there weren't any other houses on the market, and you were getting and a lot of times I would go over for listing appointments. They'd be like, what should we do? I'm like, honestly, just get it clean. And then let's get it to market. Let's do the right media and let's price it right. With the right strategy, we can do it. Now it's like that house has to be ready for market. You have to do the right amount of media for it. You have to trust your listing agent to give you the right advice, and you have to listen to your listing agent. It is no longer like, I'm going to tell you what to do. It's you need a professional who knows what they're doing now. But there is quote unquote money to be had out there. The total volume is up, average price is up. Houses are just sitting on the market a little longer. You just got to be patient, and you got to be a little more strategic in how you're doing it.
And if you're a buyer, now is the time that you can start wheeling and dealing potentially.
Correct.
It's the end of the year.
I think it's a great time to buy.
People want to sell a house at the end of the year. I don't know what the stats are on list price to sales price.
Glad you asked.
Going forward.
I have that pulled up. I'm
very
glad you asked.
What is it going backwards?
So it's funny. You and I have not even talked about this, but literally my next thing is predicting Q4 based on past history.
Yep. That's what I was just about to get to.
So you nailed it. All right.
We've done a few episodes together. I know where you're going.
So I was trying, this is what I did at sales meeting, which I don't think you were there last week.
No, I had something.
But you know, I was kind of looking at what happened over the summer. So adjusting for the summers, you know, we're up 7.5% on number of closings. Sold volume for the summers are up 12.5%. It's going really well this summer. But if you look at what happens in that slowdown, what happens during the wintertime compared to the summertime, what's Q4 look like compared to summer? In Q4, in 19, 21, and 24, those are the years that I took as like baseline years.
I thought you were about to start with a 1900s reference. When you said 19, I was like,
let's go back to 1902 first, and I'll get there.
All right.
I just figured like 2019 is a normal year-ish. 2021 wasn't COVID, so ish. Yeah. 24, it wasn't 23 where interest rates went crazy. They're kind of normal-ish year, so I use those as average. What you saw in Q4 compared to the summer was closings go down by about 20%. Total volume sold goes down by about 20%. Average price goes down by about 3%. Cumulative days on market goes up by about 8%. And sales price to list price goes down by 0.6%. So essentially your houses are going to be a little cheaper. They're going to last about a week longer on the market, and you can probably get about 0.6 off, about 0.5% off of the listing price.
I'd be curious in that number with sales price to list price. If I'm assuming it doesn't, but does that include seller concessions?
It does not.
So I don't think there's a way to run a report for that.
Unfortunately, not.
I'd be curious
Flex.
to see what the breakdown is on.
Like if there's more seller concessions in the winter,
like,
I would guess so. I mean, just looking at the trends, you would expect that. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's sometimes they don't want. I'm just looking at builders, for example. They don't want to come off that purchase price because they got to keep growing it in the community. It helps. High tide rises all ships. They got to keep
appraisal issues that kind of
and they don't want to throw a curveball at the appraiser and be like, wait a minute, you got 390, and then 375.
Yeah.
Well, what happened here?
Yeah.
So maybe we'll give them the 390 still, but then we'll back in 15K so that it's a net of 375.
Interest rate buy down, stuff like that.
Yeah. So that's why I was curious about that, and I've seen it more where I'm getting more offers on properties that include seller concessions.
You got to work a deal now. I think that's the way. I mean, the buyers are out there. I think if the interest rates drop down to 5.5 or so, which I am kind of predicting next year at some point, maybe by the end of the summer next year, we're around 5.5. I think this thing's going to go nuts. I mean, and I've been saying that for 2 years, and it's kind of proven out. It was about a 2-year recovery from when interest rates went crazy, and now play this out for another year. The inventory will be there. The buyers, once the buyers step into the market, especially those first-time home buyers, like they've been kind of locked out of the market for a while. You're younger, and by younger first-time home buyer, I mean between 28 and 35, where that used to be between 21 and 25. A lot of those people are renting those great apartments with dog washing stations and
beautiful pools. Yeah.
So
we rented for me and my wife when we were engaged. We got an apartment. We only rented for 1 year. That was it. Yeah. And we bought a house right after that because that was what you're supposed to do. You get married, you go buy a house. Like that was kind of how we were both brought up. And but yeah, it was. I mean, shoot, I would have still loved to live there now.
So what happens when the mortgage payments are pretty much the same, if not cheaper, than the person living in that apartment? Eventually, it's going to happen.
100%.
And then you're going to see a lot of activity.
Yeah. You got any other quick tidbits? We got to move on to a much more broad-reaching topic.
No. I mean, I think that's the story. Is the biggest takeaway should be people is that your days on market is up, your inventory is up significantly, but average price is also up. So it's kind of good news for both sides. It's not a bad news statistics right now.
What's life like as a broker these days with this current market? Anything worth mentioning?
I would say, and this kind of goes to, and I don't know if we were going to get to the Compass Anywhere story.
That's where we're going right now.
Okay. But what I would say as a broker, especially in the last 2 years, it has been wildly more competitive. Broker v broker type stuff. You are seeing,
we're talking about like recruiting and media.
Yeah, you are seeing a crazy amount of recruiting going on. You are seeing a crazy amount of just we're not seeing the next generation of realtors come into the industry like we used to see. In 2020, we saw a huge influx of people coming into the industry.
Guilty.
From other industries that
I was already in the industry, but
that were qualified to be good sales professionals, but were working a different job elsewhere. And then when they got kind of locked in and shut in, and maybe some of their industry that they were in kind of fizzled away or took a step back, you saw these people coming into real estate, and we got this kind of boom of talented new agents. And you've seen them in our office. I don't want to necessarily call people out exactly by name.
You'll forget somebody.
But I will forget someone. But there are some people that came from the nursing industry or from the restaurant industry, places that were much more difficult during COVID time.
Health and fitness industry.
The health and fitness industry. I wonder where that is. Well, we're not seeing that anymore. And we're also seeing the added regulations, the added talk about commissions are weird now. Everything seems to be a little bit more difficult to do your job as a real estate agent. And what we found is the newer agents that get into the industry are struggling a little bit to get their business rolling like people were able to in the early 2020s.
Yeah.
And because of that, we're seeing a lot of brokerages look to the existing agents at brokerages and say, as opposed to growing organically through the next wave, we're going to grow through merger and acquisition. We're going to grow through large team building, new creation. We've seen some of that in our local market. There's been some huge shifts locally where a brokerage has kind of come out of another brokerage, or you've seen large teams at one brokerage go to another. And I think this Compass Anywhere is kind of the story. It kind of signifies exactly what I'm trying to get at here locally, and I notice it nationally.
So we'll just dive right into it. So if you've been living under a rock, or you don't understand, if you're in the real estate world and you've been living under a rock, or if you just don't follow the real estate world, Compass, who was one of the largest brokerages in the country, bought Anywhere.
Yep.
Real estate. Anywhere, unique name. We'll give them that.
It used to be called Relogy.
Yeah, but Anywhere is just still kind of, I mean, I get it. Like, they're anywhere. You can find us
You
anywhere.
can do it anywhere.
Yeah. So, but you can't do it anywhere. I could not sell houses in Kentucky living in Florida. So, Anywhere is made up of, give me a second, I'm pulling up my notes. Anywhere has a bunch of, I won't say subsidiary companies, but that might be the right term now that I'm thinking about it.
Bunch of franchises.
Yeah. So they own Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate, Century 21. That's still a thing. Coldwell Banker Commercial.
Century 21 catching shade.
Just, I mean.
Keep going before we dig a deeper hole. I shouldn't have pointed it out.
Just sometimes just let the reference just slide through.
Sotheby's is one of a lot of
Sotheby's, ERA, Corcoran. By the way, the thoughts and opinions of this podcast are Jake Wardrop and Jake Wardrop alone.
They do not reflect me.
So this is no longer a homepage product. So George is no longer officially tied to anything I say.
That's right.
But Compass bought them.
Yeah.
Which was kind of weird, honestly, if you're looking at it from just reality. I mean, they didn't really like each other.
No.
They were kind of public on not liking each other.
Yeah.
And they had a basic, simple disagreement on the whole industry.
Yeah.
Like at a base level, they disagreed on how to sell houses. Compass was starting to go more towards the in-house only, we are the exclusive listing agent, but we're also going to be the exclusive buyer's agent. We hold the in-house listing exclusively to us. You got to go to compass.com. I don't know if that's their website, but let's pretend it is. You got to go to compass.com to find access to these homes. We're the only ones that are going to be able to give you access to it. Even started button heads with Zillow. Zillow was not listing their homes on their website because of that.
And that's continuing.
That's still a thing.
Didn't just start.
Very much a
thing.
However, when you buy Anywhere, and now you have, as of the end of 2026, when this is projected to finish out, you now have 340,000 agents across, I don't know if it's either the nation or the world. It doesn't matter. You have 340,000 agents. That number is real. You have 340,000 agents. You now carry a little more weight than you did before when trying to strong-arm Zillow into getting your listings back on their platform again. Now you're not just blocking out Compass that had, I don't know, maybe 125,000 agents.
I thought it was more than that. It was only 33,000.
Oh, it was only 33? Okay. So now you go from a company that you're blocking out 33,000 agents. Now you're 10Xing that, and you're blocking out 340,000 agents.
Yeah.
You kind of lose a little bit of your negotiating power when that significant amount of agents have to do something one way.
It's why, I mean, let's start with just the agent share, market share discussion. I mean, I honestly, I'd be surprised if this actually gets approved by, was it the FCC? Whoever, or
FTC?
Yeah, thank
Federal
you.
Trade Commission?
I was like, FCC? I was like, no, this is...
It's not about trying to say bad words on TV.
Yeah, we're not talking about Jimmy Kimmel right now.
FCC won't let me be.
Yeah, this is something that does appear to be creating a bit of a competitive advantage, disadvantage, depending on which side of the coin you're
you
at.
start flirting with monopoly talk.
Yeah, so the numbers that I saw, it's very varied because I've heard that 300,000 reported. I've also heard something closer to 230,000 reported. Either way, you're looking at somewhere between 15, upwards of 20% of all agents in NAR are going to be under this umbrella. And in smaller markets where Compass and the Anywhere brands already have a foothold, there are many markets that are going to be over 40% of the market to be controlled by that new conglomerate. I don't know how that's going to be allowed to continue. So they might have to split up markets and everything, but that seems to be incredibly important looking at that. And then what also seems to be incredibly important is what's going on with the MLS Zillow arguments right now. Yeah. I mean, the fight for data is happening in front of us.
I think that I don't want to get into it, but the fight for data goes well beyond just real estate.
Yeah. Of course.
I don't want to get into the other industries, but ours specifically, I mean, it's a race to a data race
to conglomerate all of it and then try to protect it and put firewalls in between. And, we could talk about private listings versus public listings for another 2-hour podcast. And I don't want to, but regardless of your views of if it should be allowed or not, this is going to change how we look at that. And there is a world that you could explain that NAR becomes, I'm not going to say less powerful than this new conglomerate, but is significantly less controlling than they were before.
I would agree, because like you said, if you've got 20% of NAR is Compass now, like that's a very loud voice.
Yes, and especially locally, like
one
those
out of
markets.
5 people now answers to Compass. That is they're going to get some things that they want through NAR, whether you want to believe it or not.
And the thing that bothers me about it when it comes to the MLS and data sharing and private listings is I actually do believe there's some truth to allowing an American homeowner to do what they want with their house. So it's, for me, there are situations where a private listing it makes sense to a seller. If I'm a public figure, do I really want everyone seeing exactly where I live and for how much money and what's in my house?
I looked at a public figure's house with a client one time, and the listing agent was there.
Yeah.
But getting access to that house was way too easy.
Yes.
Like, obviously me and my client didn't have nefarious aspirations.
Right.
But it was very easy, and I'm not going to say who it was, but it was very easy. Everybody knows who this person is. It was way too easy to get in their house.
Yeah. Or even like card collectors. You've had card collectors on the show before.
We have, yeah.
Like if people are obsessed with card collecting and they know there's some expensive card at someone's house because they saw it on Zillow. So there are scenarios where a private listing is probably what's best for people.
Yeah.
But that's going to get pushed aside because we're going to do is going to argue about, well, that they're trying to create this, black market essentially. And then unfortunately, that's kind of what's going to happen. So we'll see. I think the industry is going to be affected strongly one way or another. My prediction is it doesn't get to go through, though.
Do you think it does anything on the local level? Do you think there's
local level as in Louisville?
We don't have Compass here.
Okay. Yeah.
So, yes,
well,
we've got.
Well,
we've got. But from what I was listening to somebody talk about it, and they were saying that Compass does not want to rebrand everything to Compass.
Yeah.
They want these companies to stay what they are because some of them do have brand recognition.
Yeah.
And part of it is, so there's more than just the real estate companies that they bought. They bought other subsidiary companies as well. One of them being, I'll tell you in a second. So they bought Anywhere Advisors. That's kind of like the company-owned brokerage operations. So they bought access to that now. So they've got kind of like the equivalent of our brokerage engine. They've got some sort of platform that they have proprietary information on that is their stuff. That's Anywhere's stuff. Anywhere integrated services, so title, settlement, and escrow. So now they have more access to that. Again, more data, more access, more people, bigger reach. This was the big one that I think was worth mentioning is Cardis. Cardis is the largest relocation company in the nation.
Yep.
And now they have access to that. Which Compass, from what I've seen and what I know online, is they do generally cater to a higher price point. So you now have people that are looking at second homes in the States. If you've got relocation, somebody in the Middle East or somebody in France, somebody in Spain, wherever, and they want to come here, now you've got this relocation company under your umbrella. Now you've got those transactions under your purview. And then lastly, you know, Anywhere Leads, it's some sort of AI lead platform that they have, as well as Anywhere Insurance. So they did buy more than just real estate brokerages, which candidly, I feel like buying a real estate brokerage does not make sense 97% of the time.
Yeah.
It's too, I could have sent a text message before this podcast started, and I could have been in a different brokerage by the time this podcast ended.
Is this how you're telling me you're leaving the brokerage?
I'm doing it on camera so you don't insult me. It's too easy to leave.
Yeah.
But it's also really easy to get in somewhere that you want to be, you know, when you want to do it. So the other side of the coin is, why does that make such a good? It doesn't make sense to me from a business standpoint to buy something that has such an easy and simple turnover option.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that
especially for $10 billion, which is what the valuation was that they're going to work off of.
Well, I've seen some editorial about this point, and there could be some truth to it. It could be a tipping of the hand that Compass was having some trouble being profitable, because I think what they might have done is say, let's do economies of scale. Now we don't have to, just think about the amount of people that are going to lose their jobs. If you have one bookkeeper, let's take it to a very small, one bookkeeper can do a lot when it comes to keeping books. Do you need one bookkeeper then at each little local brokerage within anywhere? Probably not. And that's happened here locally, where you've had multiple offices kind of go into one big office, and like 10, 12 people might lose their job because of that. Redundancies are going to be all over the place with this. And I think there are some people saying that maybe this was Compass trying to gain profitability by vertical integration, like you mentioned, with other service platforms, through buying people's tech and through creating a kind of a main hub that can operate a greater good type thing and lowering your cost per transaction. I'm not sure what the biggest takeaway is, but I do think it mentions a little bit about this could have been a defensive move by Compass as opposed to an offensive move. It could have been like, we're really struggling to make money here. We have to enjoy economies, because I didn't realize they only had 33,000 agents.
Yeah.
And that's just probably because they were doing higher end type stuff. They had a large market share, but their agent share was probably low.
Yeah. Makes me wonder, because the trade is being done. It's an all stock deal where Anywhere shares are going to be converted to essentially 1.4x what the Compass shares are. So my question is, do I want to buy Anywhere stock or do I want to buy Compass stock? Which one do I want to buy? Well,
they're getting a premium. Like Anywhere shares are going to be traded at higher than what you could have bought it already.
Oh yeah. But it's, long term, somebody's going up, somebody's going down. So where?
And I see, now I'm ignorant here. Doesn't it just turn into one stock?
It should, but there's money to be made in the stock market with mergers and acquisitions.
Yeah,
like that's absolutely.
So you're asking me?
Yeah, I'm just open ended.
I feel like you should have a different guest on.
If you know, comment below.
Yeah, by then the market will have already solved it. But
I don't know. We'll see. Do you think? Let's get more hyper. Unless do you have any other thoughts on the national implications of it? Okay. No. Do you think we start to see, because we've already seen a couple, but it wasn't because of this. We've already seen a couple of the local companies, either, like you said earlier, sprouted from one to another, merged into two. Do you think, and I don't think this is the last merger and acquisition that happens on a national scale. I think the NAR stuff has triggered a lot of moving pieces behind the scenes. Do you see that happening at all on a local level?
Like, are you going to be working for Compass all of a sudden?
No.
I can tell you Compass...
unless you sell to Compass.
Well, Compass has not called me, unfortunately. I'm not getting a $10 billion valuation for
What's
homepage.
Your number? So. How much?
Yeah, right? No. So I've been thinking about that a lot. I mean, I will say, and could it be a little bit like our real estate market in general? We do not really follow the trends of some of the larger markets here in Louisville. Like, we're usually some years behind. I don't think we're going to see a lot of immediate stuff come down from it. I would actually say we were doing the anti of that trend. I've noticed the move towards independent brokerages much more than the move towards conglomerating under national.
But is that
brokerages.
One agent or a small group of agents taking a step back to do things their own way and then to get their foundation laid, and now they're going to go out and recruit?
I'm not sure I followed what you were saying.
Well, you said
there,
that you're seeing more of the opposite, where people are retracting and contracting into smaller groups. Smaller
but then they're trying to grow out.
That's what I was saying. Is do you think that they're doing that so that maybe they agree with A, B, and C, but they didn't agree with X, Y, and Z of the processes of their current situation?
Yeah, I also think it's just like the entrepreneurship of 2025 compared to when it was in the 90s. I think it was easier to just go work for a big chain, and now like everyone's got a side hustle, everyone's an influencer type thing. I mean, just since I started Homepage, we could name a significant amount of independent brokers that have gone out on their own and, like you said, grown and done well.
Yeah.
Where the places that they left are still in existence. So we just have more of a competitive brokerage field. I think Homepage owns somewhere around 3.5 to 4.5%. Actually, I think it's 4.25% of the entire market. We are 4th place on the year. That's only 4%. That number in the 90s, 4th place might have been 20%. I don't know exactly, but the market share per brokerage is much, much smaller. So we've gone the opposite way is what I'm saying. Yeah. So are we going to then contract back in? I think the big question is, how is Compass or someone like that going to acquire? Like you said, like if Compass comes and says, all right, we're buying Homepage, we're naming it Compass, most of our agents could be like, no, we were kind of like this independent feel. Like we're here because we don't want to be a part of a bigger group. So that's the thing. I think when you're looking at it, I don't know how, like you said, how that works. And I don't know how many agents are going to leave where they are now at Anywhere when they hear it's Compass. Maybe they don't care because an agent at Anywhere is already part of a bigger machine. I don't know.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, because like a lot of the consumers, if not all, the vast majority of consumers pick Jake Wardrop, the realtor.
Right.
They don't pick Jake Wardrop from Homepage Realty.
Right.
They pick Jake Wardrop, and I just happen to also have all the support of Homepage behind me. So,
which is what I've been saying for 10 years. Yeah.
So I think some of that is, I don't know if you see a big turnover. I guess that's the right word to use. Turnover with the agents, like you just said, where they're a part of Anywhere, but now they're a part of Compass. And do they want to make the switch? Do they not want to make the switch? Well, as long as their day to day doesn't really change that much, kind of feels like you're just changing just to change.
Yeah, I don't know. Because I don't know if the agents pick the broker or do they pick the brokerage. Mm-hmm. I think it's different for different people, you know? So I think there are some people that are like, I'm going to be with Broker Bob regardless of where Broker Bob is because I believe in him.
Yeah.
Or there's going to be some people that's just like, I just like these 4 systems that have it here. And some people are like, I just like the split because it's the cheapest split in Louisville. And then a new one pops up and all the cheapest split in Louisville people go there. So I think it's definitely gonna. I just don't think it's gonna come in Louisville. After saying all this, I don't think we're gonna see a big change because I've just seen the reverse of what we're talking about.
And I would say a year ago, I would have fallen into that bucket of I'm gonna do my own thing at some point.
Yeah.
I think that door is closed. No pun intended. Yeah. I think that door is, and I really didn't actually try to do that. I think that ship has sailed. I don't think I want to.
Yeah.
I don't want the responsibility. I don't want, and I'm an entrepreneur at heart. I've started multiple businesses. I just started another one recently. But I don't want that responsibility. I don't want that oversight of things that are out of my control. I could go rogue and you're subject to the repercussions of what I do.
Yeah, it's all day.
To some degree.
I know, man. It's all day. There's always something different. And there's always a threat.
So for me, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I don't want to take on that responsibility. I'd much rather go, and this goes to a much deeper conversation that we can't have because we're running out of time, but I did allude to it earlier. I don't know if there's a real true value in starting a brokerage, getting it to about 20 agents. Is anyone going to come buy that? Is there an exit strategy besides just closing up shop one day?
That's the exit strategy.
Just close up shop. Yeah. Like I want to be able to like cash in my chips. I don't want to have to just like leave my chips at the table.
Yeah, you can't.
Like I want to be able to take my chips with me and go cash them out. So like that's why we got into the short-term
services. It's different.
That's why we got into the short-term rental management. That gives me an exit strategy. I'm not saying I'm leaving anytime soon. Excuse me, I got some burps. That energy drink, the carbonation is starting to kick in. But I don't have an exit strategy, predetermined. But I need to at least know I can get out if I need to. So starting the short-term rental management, I mean, you get enough revenue running through the door, running through your books, and you've got the contracts in place with the owners of the property, like that has real value that could be sold somewhere down the road.
Yeah.
That book of business could be sold for, I don't know, 2x, 3x, 4x, whatever the multiplier is at that time.
Right.
You know, we looked at a long time ago, before we got into real estate, we looked at buying an insurance agency. And it was the going rate was 3x your yearly top line.
Mm-hmm.
So if it does $250K a year in top line, then the value of that book of business is $750K.
It's a pretty fair multiplier, actually.
Yeah.
It's usually 2 to 5 in professional services.
So there was and I don't mind laying out more details. It was Allstate.
Yeah.
There was an office in Oldham County that was, I believe, a husband and wife team. They were looking at retiring and sailing off into the sunset, travel a bunch, and they didn't feel like putting in work hours anymore. So we looked at that opportunity. It made sense on paper, but I had to decide at that time with my wife, do we want to use this chunk of money that we have to buy a home or continue to rent and buy a business?
Mm-hmm.
And we opted for the home.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted to have a family. We didn't want to live in an apartment anymore. It was still super risky in an industry that I didn't know a ton about at the time, but it made sense on paper. So, you know, to me, that's why I've always thought that if you're going to start a company, have at least somewhat of an idea of how you get out, because you never know.
Should have talked to you before I started a homepage.
Well, I think you ended up okay. I think you're doing just fine. A little stressful from time to time, but I think the brokerage is doing pretty well.
The brokerage is doing well, but yeah, I mean, you're right. Like it is definitely something that's more relationship based than contract based.
Mm-hmm. Well, and two, like you have 200 and something agents.
Yes,
there is some value there.
Yes,
I wouldn't scale it to 200 agents if I was to go down my own road. That's just me talking for me, not saying what you should or shouldn't do.
Thought I would have put it that way. I never thought I would have done this.
Then I probably would have been the same way. I definitely don't. I want something. If I did it, I would have wanted something small and niche where it's 4 to 8 of us.
Yeah.
And me, and that's it. Like
there's
we can rent
just not a lot of money in that.
Yeah, there's not. But if your office is super small and you're only paying $1,000 a month for rent, and you're in a small little shopping center. Yeah. Like at the end of the day, how much does the brick and mortar really move the needle on sales?
Right.
It could. I'm sure it does. I mean, we have a beautiful office.
Yeah.
I show clients at any chance I get because it just makes us look that much more successful.
I think it moves the needle on culture.
It does.
So it matters kind of what you're focusing on. If you're focused on buyers and sellers of real estate, no. But we've never focused on that. It's just been agent first, which I think is interesting with the Compass thing, going back to that. Like they are obviously focusing on buyers and sellers of real estate and buyers and sellers of stock. Really, more than anything else is what this was. I don't think this had a lot to do with what's best for the agent.
Yeah, this was definitely the finances was a massive reason for anything, just like really any business.
Yeah, I'd be really interested to hear from someone at like an agent at Anywhere. What do they think about this? You know, because do they feel like, oh, now I'm going to be part of Compass. Now I'm in a group that I didn't agree to join, or is it like, doesn't matter. It's not going to change.
I would say we've got to be the largest city in America that doesn't have a Compass.
Yeah. Yeah. It is weird that we don't have a Compass.
Like even if it's like one brokerage with 4 agents.
I'm just kind of waking up to the fact that they were a luxury brand, because there was like a Compass in Southern Indiana, but I don't even think it was the Compass. I think it was a different Compass.
It could have just been, I mean, Compass is a pretty generic name for a company.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Be interested to.
It's interesting times. There's been so many big headlines in real estate in the past 2 years, I feel like.
All right. We don't get to do our other thing, which is fine.
No.
It's okay.
It is 1 o'clock.
It is 1 o'clock. We have hit the bell. We've hit the mark. Anything you want to plug? Anything you want to mention? If not, we'll sign out and see you later.
I think you should sign out and see you later.
All right. We'll sign out and see you later. Like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Thank you, George.
Thank you, buddy.
We'll do it again probably sooner than later.
Awesome.